shooter.
Call it a tale of two Nebraskas. Steve Stoltz, turkey calling champion and whitetail hunting authority, hunts the Omaha Indian Reservation in the northeastern region of the Cornhusker State. And for whitetail expert Willi Schmidt, it's some intensively managed private land to the southwest, along the Platte River, land with a bounty of wildlife. Both Nebraskas, though, contain the spirit of the whitetail revolution.
That's a buck. Shooter. He's a shooter. I think I see a shooter. I'm looking for big times. Shooter, that's a shooter.
I don't think this hunt at Omaha Indian Reservation is going to be a cakewalk.
I can't take that shot, it's too brushy.
In the Midwest, all your gun seasons happen right in a little enclosed area, like say November 12th through the 20th. So to be able to come to the Omaha Indian Reservation and hunt with a rifle in October is a very rare feat.
Some of the most sought-after whitetail tags in Nebraska are the fewer than 100 offered each year by the Omaha tribe on its native reservation. And the man for Steve Stoltz to see is the reservation's Director of Wildlife and Parks, Mike Tyndall.
Steve's here hunting with Whitetail Revolution, and the key to his success is going to be patient. I think the best habitat available for take a trophy animal is in these timbered areas.
You know, one of the things about hunting the Omaha Indian Reservation for me is I'm not real familiar with the reservation, so I've got to get familiar with where some of the key places are. This is 170,000 acres, and it's vast, very diversified. River hills, you got farmland.
With the secretive whitetail, Stoltz will have his work cut out to find the hot spots on the reservation. In southwest Nebraska, Willi Schmidt's hunting prime private land along the Platte.
Spot.
We're in southwest Nebraska on the North Platte River. I've hunted ducks here for probably 5 or 6 years and had the opportunity to deer hunt here 2 years ago with Miles Fiscus, and I know the quality of bucks that are here, and hunting the North Platte River, these big whitetails can be fantastic.
Someone else who knows the quality of Nebraska deer is rock guitarist and native Cornhusker Steve Ferris. Famous as a waterfowler, Ferris is also dedicated to whitetails.
I know what's going on in western Nebraska. First of all, we have a very large deer, almost Saskatchewan type size deer, but we also have great genetics and great trophy quality out here. I think it's not uncommon for us on these properties to be producing 150 class whitetail all day long, but there also are some monsters, and that's what we want to keep shooting for. And I think more and more about that is the discipline of not shooting the small ones and letting the small ones grow into big ones.
Southern Nebraska, the Platte River that runs across there and that I-80 corridor that runs across southern Nebraska just holds tons and tons of game. There's deer, there's turkey. The waterfowl that comes through there is amazing. If you can get a place to hunt, the deer are really fun to hunt in that area for the simple fact that it's river, it's timber, and it's wide open country. So the deer are going to be in that timber next to the river.
I've been waiting for this for a long time. Got this light, it's cold, about 28 degrees, light snow on the ground, about 2-3 inches. Should be perfect. Makes for some good quiet walking as well as get those rutting bucks fired up. We're gonna go set up next to one of these big round hay bales. Don't want to get into where there's a bedding area and there'll be a transition coming from food. So we'll sit back from the edge of the trees about 100, 150 yards, rattle and grunt, spend a little time there, see if we can't pull something out. Feels like a deer hunt morning, doesn't it? Little breeze, crisp, cold, clear. Get these deer on their feet.
We're just gonna go
up here on this terrace, kind of glass these fields and see if there's anything out in it. It's a buck, it's a buck.
Winchester's Whitetail Revolution is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. Code Blue, perfecting the science of hunting. Winchester Repeating Arms, the guns that work. Redfield, the soul of the American hunter. And by Browning, the best there is.
Clear the light one.
In northeast Nebraska, the whitetail have some 170,000 acres of habitat to roam across on the Omaha Indian Reservation. So for Steve Stoltz to find the trophy buck he's after, he first has some extensive scouting ahead of him to learn the land he's on.
When you're not familiar with the ground, you have to get to know the terrain, you have to scout. There's a lot of tracks in here going right along this terrace. Not a lot of bucks in there, although they are traveling through here. It's a natural bottleneck right here. And right here, scrapes. Right here, got licking branches. I'm looking for big rub. I'm looking for scrapes. There's a buck working a scrape right here. I'm looking for big tracks. But what I'm not seeing is big tracks. I see deer tracks, but not. Of course, it's been dry, so big tracks aren't going to show up that good. Anything that's telling me where these bucks are keying in on. Might be another one. I think I found another one down here. Bingo. Bada boom. Looky here. Scrapes, multiple scrapes on a big looking branch. Got the structure. I'll tell you what, we're gonna put a trail camera here. Here's a trail camera right here. So that's perfect. Let me check, see if that's lined up. Bucks will be scraping, and they'll come check scrapes. What I like to do is put the buck urine in the scrapes, put the Code Blue, the new Gravedigger deer dirt in the scrapes in some of these key locations. And what that does is put that buck smell down. Those dominant bucks are going to want to come and cross-urinate over those scrapes. In these scrape sites, it's all about making it smell natural.
While Steve is laying the groundwork with Code Blue across the state by the flat water of the Platte River, Willi Schmidt is finding himself in the midst of game.
This is a good spot. We'll set up here to call. Pretty good open area, a lot of tracks. Really thick Russian olives over here. Deer love bedding down. There's just lots of tracks.
Willi's area is ripe with deer, but what if your hunting spot isn't? David Morris discusses, if you grow it, they will come, on this Tecomate Trophy Tip.
Hi, I'm David Morris. You know, one of the most common questions we get at Tecomate is how in the world do you guys consistently take such big bucks? And the answer is simple. We either go to where big bucks are, or we grow big bucks where we are, and that's where the Tecomate management system comes in, which is basically increase your nutritional claim, largely through food plots. Then with time and with effort, you can put age on deer, give them good food, you'll have big deer. I'm David Morris. I'll talk to you next time on Tecomate Trophy Tips.
To continue this and other conversations with David, go to tecomate.com.
It's a buck, it's a buck. Oh, he's not a shooter. He's only got one antler. Looks like he lost his other one on the main beam. Give him another year and not have it snapped off at the main beam. He'll be a pretty good buck. He had good genetics.
We've been scouting all day. Got some great spots located. We're just gonna go up here on this terrace, kind of glass these fields to see if there's anything out in it. Oh yeah, there's two does. Looks like they came out of that timber to the left. We got to see a true albino whitetail. I have never seen an albino whitetail. I was pumped, even though it was just a doe.
Maybe a white deer, like a white buffalo, will be a sign of good fortune. And maybe tomorrow, Steve and Willi will find that the bucks they are looking for are in their sights on Whitetail Revolution.
Good buck.
Winds are so high, deer aren't moving. We got to go to them. We're going to change up the tactics a little bit.
This is Nebraska's Platte River, where whitetail expert Willi Schmidt is working his grunt call to bring in a buck.
Got a doe coming out.
wind event happened here in the Midwest. Dangerous high winds, 50, 60 mile an hour winds.
High winds will put deer down. It'll suppress deer movement, and it will usually drive them to some sort of shelter where they can get out of the wind. In the prairies of Nebraska, that often means these bowls, these depressions where they can get down below the wind channel, the wind line.
As the wind blows, it's going to move the vegetation more. They're nervous. What time of season is it? Is it early season? Is it late season? You know, they're going to get around. They're going to get nervous. They can't use their ears, you know, so they got to use their eyesight. They can't use their eyesight, their nose. So you're going to find them bedded down a whole lot more. If you're going to hunt them at that time of year, you're going to get a little bit closer and closer to the bedroom, but never get in their bedroom.
We got to go to them. We're going to change up the tactics a little bit. We're going to start walking some of these bedding areas and try a little spot and stalk, see if we can see one before he sees us. Feel better out here in this field than in the timber with this wind.
So windy, I think we can walk right up on one, actually.
When that wind is blowing, it's masking your movement and your sound, and a lot of times you can jump that deer, get right up on him before he knows you're there, either take advantage of him in the bed if you find him there, or jump him and get a shot at him. So wind offers advantages, it definitely offers some disadvantages.
Right here, right here. It's a little buck, right there. Man, I walked right up on that deer. He's just standing there looking at me. He don't know what he saw. It's so windy. That's a little spiky. I am looking for bigger antlers than that, because there could be a buck laying right with him that has not seen me yet. It's so windy, and these deer are not bedded far from feed, so we're just going to keep pushing on, follow this buck sign, slowly work our way back to hopefully a bigger buck. There's a lot of huge rubs in here. I mean, big rubs.
While Schmidt is working deer on private land in the southwest part of the state, on the Omaha Reservation, Steve Stoltz is having to buck the wind that is keeping the deer down.
Kind of at the end of the property. We'll see if we can pull something from the other side. That's a good buck. Nice buck. Get on the right side. It's beautiful. Just took off. Couldn't get him across that fence in 5 yards. He was way around there. That's what we were looking for. That's a good buck. Not the biggest, but good buck. I'm going to drive up here now and meet Steve Ferris, my partner in the hunting property. He killed a giant buck apparently today on a different property, different part of Nebraska, just 45 minutes away.
Now the Platte River of Nebraska is famous for big whitetails. I consider it to be one of the best places in the country, and probably one of the least talked about great places in the country for big whitetails. In fact, I plan to hunt it next year myself.
Oh my.
About that, Willi Schmidt.
Look at that. That is some bone.
That's Nebraska whitetail right there. A lot of people think of me as a waterfowl hunter, but I think the back of my truck speaks for itself.
That thing has some character, some that's got everything. Congratulations.
I mean, geez, can you imagine? I walked up and had everything.
And he scored what?
197, 6 days.
That is one heck of a deer.
At 196 6/8, Ferris has an outstanding whitetail, but outstanding whitetails are nothing new to Nebraska. Over the years, the state has produced hundreds of record book typical and non-typical heads, including deer in both categories, and the all-time top 10, and those bucks having gone into the book in just the last 2 years.
I'm gonna take him.
It's a shooter.
Winchester's Whitetail Revolution is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. Cold Blue, perfecting the science of hunting. Winchester Repeating Arms, the guns that work. Redfield, the soul of the American hunter. And by Browning, the best there is. One thing for sure, whatever the weather's like on the private land on the Platte, up on the Omaha Reservation, it's going to be different and subject to change without notice.
It's the last afternoon of our hunt here at Omaha Indian Reservation. Here lately we've been having good luck sifting in bedding areas and walking right up on deer. They don't even know that they don't know we're there. Maybe we'll get lucky and pull a rabbit out of our hat.
Moving again from the reservation to the Platte, Schmidt is trying to establish his boundaries.
We just crossed a slough to go do a couple of setups in some of these openings. Nearly all the bucks have their nose to the ground. So we're gonna run a drag line. So what we have is some Code Blue standing estrus. We'll dip a few of these sort of tentacles on this drag line in here. Put this to belt loop, something behind you. It just drags and bounces along, leaving scent as it goes. Make our way to the next setup and spend a little time there.
Standing right there in that brush. I don't have a shot. I can't take that shot, it's too brushy. He's gonna have to walk right. I can't shoot through that brush, I'm not gonna take the shot. There he goes. There he goes. I almost got one right there. Wasn't super huge, but I'd have been proud of that buck.
What a great experience hunting here at the Omaha Indian Reservation. Unfortunately, we weren't successful. This is a best kept secret in Nebraska, the Omaha Indian Reservation, loaded with whitetails. I'm really optimistic about my next trip here, and thanks to Mike Tyndall for having Whitetail Revolution on another great hunt.
A muy grande buck may have eluded Steve Stoltz on his hunt on the Omaha Reservation, but the book isn't closed yet on Willi Schmidt down along the Platte River.
That was borderline. You know, he's a good, respectable 9-point. That's a tough one. We know there's bigger ones and better quality bucks here. But that was a pretty cool encounter. We'll move a couple hundred yards this way and go give it another shot. Get around this rush and all, and I think I got several openings to shoot from. I like this spot. Opening up there, opening behind right. Shooter. I think it's a shooter. Come on out. Get open. Come to the opening. He's down. He didn't go far. Man, what a great buck. He came into the rattle and the grunt and a bleat just like you'd want. Stepped out in the open, just looked up at us. Man, I put that 270 right in the front of the left shoulder, and he didn't go 40, 50 yards. I don't think I need to worry about a blood trail. Let's go see what these XP3 bullets did to him. Man, I see brown. Boy, that XP3 did its trick. You know, I am thrilled with this buck. We've hunted hard, we've seen bigger ones, but if you always hold out for the bigger ones, sometimes you don't get one. And sometimes that's okay. And I think this is a good representative buck of the area. Good Nebraska buck. I couldn't be happier. Now we got to worry about getting across the river. Feet came out of my boots.